Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. May 10th, 2018.
The Cooner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. Cleaning up your financial bull. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services.
So I just want to say this is a special night for these three really great people. And congratulations on being in this country. Thank you. 105 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, President Trump met with three Americans, all of them Korean Americans or Americans of Korean descent, who were imprisoned and detained. One of them, in fact, sent to a slave labor camp. He managed to negotiate their release. They came back with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. They arrived at Andrews Air Force Base at 3 in the morning. And there was President Trump meeting them personally, along with First Lady Melania. And it was an incredibly emotional experience. In fact, there were a lot of American flags. And what was most touching were the faces, the looks, the voices of the three men, some of whom have been held captive for several years, all of whom waving the V for victory sign or the peace sign, however you want to interpret it, absolutely jubilant. And one after another, they openly thanked President Trump. And more than that, they said something that is a profound truth. And it's something that is so exceptional and beautiful and noble about this country, which is that only in America would an American president care enough to negotiate and press and press and press for the release of his fellow citizens from the hands of a murderous, brutal, barbaric regime. There are South Koreans still rotting in North Korean prisons. There are citizens from all kinds of countries around the world still rotting in North Korean prisons. But President Trump never forgot his fellow Americans. And he would not stop until they came home. And as they left the plane, what they openly said was, this is the greatest nation in the world. And that they are so proud and grateful to be Americans. Because they know that had they been any other nationality, had they been from any other country or a citizen of any other nation, most likely they would still be rotting in a North Korean prison, and very likely they would die and never come home. And that's what I truly love about America. That here in America, every American counts. Every life is special, unique, and precious. And that our leaders, or at least in this case, our leader right now, President Trump, who could have ignored him, who could have forgotten him, who could have looked at him as a bargaining chip or just whatever, not a big deal, little pawns on the chessboard, went to the mat to bring them home. Because for President Trump, it's not just putting America first, it's putting Americans first. And I've got to say this. One of the men was imprisoned and detained by that Stalinist regime while Obama was president. He never lifted a finger. He couldn't give a damn. He couldn't give a damn. The only time he ever gave a damn, to be very candid with you, like I'm in the confessional, is when you are a Muslim traitor like Bo Bergdahl. If you were a Muslim traitor, then he would sell you the store. Then he would give you 6 of the Taliban's top military commanders in exchange for a man who deserted his unit, whose actions led to the deaths of multiple American troops as they looked for him. And then we find out not converted to Islam and essentially was shilling for the enemy. Then Obama cared.
then he would move heaven and earth. If Obama was president today, you can take this to the bank. None of those three men would have come home. You know why? Because he wouldn't even have cared. He wouldn't even have cared. He wouldn't even have given him a second thought. Now, not only did he bring these three men home, making good on his pledge that he was going to rescue them, save them, and bring them back, but furthermore, now the table has been set for a potential historic summit between him and the Mad Midget, i.e. Little Rocket Man. The date is going to be June 12th. The summit between these two leaders will take place in the neutral country of Singapore. It's in Asia, but it's not along the demilitarized zone. Trump did not feel comfortable being there. He wanted to get Kim Jong-un at least out of the Korean Peninsula, put him somewhere where he may be a little bit out of his element, and make him a little bit less comfortable. And I think Trump believes that if he can get him out of his element and squeeze him at the negotiating table with the right touch of carrots and sticks, incentives, and letting him basically know, look, you want your regime to collapse? We're going to squeeze China and squeeze China until they lean on you. And when they start leaning on you, Kim, you're going to have nowhere to go. Now, you're threatening to hit Guam. You're threatening to hit Hawaii. You're threatening to hit Seoul. You're threatening to hit Tokyo. You're threatening to hit the continental United States. Listen, buddy, I've got the greatest nuclear arsenal in the history of the world. You've got what, 8, 10, 12 little pea shooters? You don't even know if those things are going to work. You don't play with the United States. Either you agree to give up your nuclear weapons, in exchange for which, and I think this is the deal Trump's going to offer him, we will sign a treaty with you officially recognizing your regime and promising a non-aggression pact, meaning we will never attack you. If you don't attack anybody else, we will never attack you. So if you want to stay in power, we are allowing you to stay in power in a treaty that I will bring home and have it ratified by Congress. So it's binding law. But those nuclear weapons, you have to give them all up. Every single one of them. You can never test one. You can never test a nuke or a ballistic missile. In other words, you have to go completely non-nuclear. South Korea will go completely non-nuclear, and we will have a denuclearized Korean peninsula. This is the deal that I think Trump wants to offer the Mad Midget. With China applying maximum pressure and leverage, because they realize now Trump is going to cut off their access to the American market, which could really tank the Chinese economy, they may decide to play ball. And if the Chinese squeeze the Mad Midget, he is going to make fundamental concessions. Now, let me just say this, and then I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868 is the number. We are on the cusp, potentially. I don't want to raise expectations. You never know. Maybe within 5 minutes, Trump will take the measure of him and say he's not serious, he's playing us for fools, and he'll just walk away. However, Pompeo has met with Kim Jong-un. Americans, policymakers in preparation for this summit have met with Kim Jong-un. I do not believe that they would set the president up for a huge diplomatic failure, unless there was at least some common ground, at least some agreement on some issues. In other words, the possibility of a real deal. If Trump pulls this off, and I'm choosing my words now very carefully, he will go down in history as one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. Because if he can denuclearize North Korea, if he could end this threat to the region, to all of Asia, to America, and to the world, if he can do this, whether the Nobel Peace Prize Committee wants to give it to him or doesn't want to give it to him, they're going to have to give him the Nobel Peace Prize. because he will have accomplished something that everybody said was undoable. He will have accomplished something that Obama couldn't do, that George W. Bush couldn't do, that Bill Clinton couldn't do. And in fact, the ultimate irony is that this will blow up the entire establishment's attack and critique on Trump. Why? Because since he was elected, what they have said repeatedly is he's such a reckless wild man that he is going to lead us to a nuclear war. Not just a big war or a huge war, a conventional war, but a nuclear war. And they have said repeatedly that he and Kim are going to go to blows and the nuclear missiles will start flying. Instead of being the great warmonger, if Trump turns into the great peacemaker and essentially defangs Kim Jong-un's nuclear regime, he will have shown the entire establishment, the entire the entire media industrial complex that they have been lying about Trump from the beginning. Trump is on the verge of making history. My question to you is, do you think he will achieve it? Can he succeed where others have failed? And those 3 Americans coming home. Is this a great achievement for President Trump? And is the pride in America back? 617-266-6868. Your calls next.
Some great things can happen, and that's what we hope. So I want to thank you all. It's very early in the morning. I think you probably broke the all-time in history television rating for 3 o'clock in the morning, that I would say. But I want to just congratulate. These are 3 great people, and congratulations.
I got to tell you, I was laughing this morning when I saw that clip. I mean, I just want you to think about this. You have these 3 poor, Americans, Korean Americans, who have endured God knows what, beatings, punishment, hard labor, under Kim Jong-un, under that murderous regime, and they've been essentially rescued, freed, thanks to President Trump's diplomacy. They're on this plane back with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. There they are. They're waving the V for victory sign. They're not practically, they're crying, saying this is the greatest nation in the world. I love America. And there he is, 3 o'clock in the morning, saying, hey, you know what? You guys have broken the ratings, the all-time record for ratings at this slot at 3 in the morning. I mean, it's classic Trump. It's classic Trump. All right, listen to the president a little bit more here. Roll it, Brittany.
We very much appreciate that he allowed them to go before the meeting. It was sort of understood that we'd be able to get these 3 terrific people during the meeting and bring them home after the meeting. And he was nice in letting them go before the meeting. I mean, frankly, we didn't think this was going to happen, and it did. So you could say we're a little bit of... It was a very important thing to all of us to be able to get these 3 great people out. And I must tell you, I want to pay my warmest respects to the parents of Otto Warmbier, who is a great young man who really suffered. And his parents have become friends of ours. They are spectacular people, and I just want to pay my respects. I actually called them the other day, and Mike called them also, Mike Pence. And they are really incredible people.
You know, I got to tell you, that was when I was looking at this morning, that brought almost tears to my eyes. And on many levels. First of all, that this president would go out of his way to try to save these 3 men and get them home. And he did get them home. But, he didn't forget about Otto Warmbier. Because you have to look at it from his parents' point of view. I mean, yes, Otto Warmbier came home, but essentially the North Koreans so badly tortured him and smashed his skull in with permanent brain damage that he died when he got here. You can just imagine what the parents must be feeling. Of course, on the one hand, they're very happy that these 3 men survived. that these three Americans are home and they seem at least fairly healthy. On the other hand, they must be thinking, they made it home, but my boy didn't make it home. Or he did, but, he was basically brain damaged and he died. In other words, they survived and my boy didn't survive. Obama never lifted a finger for anybody that was rotting in a North Korean torture prison. He didn't give a damn. And yet here you have this president not only freeing these three men, but to me, having the heart, the decency, the courtesy to say, don't also forget, one boy died. And his parents are heartbroken about that. And we want them to know that we're thinking about them. In other words, I just wish I could have gotten Otto and got him here in the condition that I got these three men here. And you know what that shows to me? He cares. He cares about his fellow Americans. They always present him as this crazy egomaniac. And look at him. He didn't have to free him. Look, you cut a deal. I'll be honest with you. He cuts a deal with Kim Jong-un, and he gets him to give up his nuclear weapons. He's winning the freaking Nobel Peace Prize. No one's going to give a damn about those three if they had stayed in North Korea. I'll be honest with you. He didn't have to go out of his way, but he did. And to me, you want to know the difference between Trump and Obama? Forget the policies, forget the agenda, forget the issues, forget all of that. Obama never gave a damn about his fellow citizens. Trump does. And frankly, that's why I love the guy. Carlos in Saugus, you're up next. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hi, Jeff. Carlos Hernandez, Hernandez for Congress.us. Hey,
welcome,
listen,
Carlos.
Hey, are you tired of winning yet? I'm just curious. I mean, if anyone's out there tired of winning, look.
I'm not tired of winning. I want to keep winning, Carlos. And let's win on that wall, buddy. That's a big win I'd like to put in our column. But let that go, Carlos.
Yep, that is going to happen. That is going to happen in regards to... one other thing. Go to both of them. One, the reason that we've got these people released is because we really have a leader out there, a leader that's under attack every day by the media. They're trying to destroy him for doing his job. Something that other guy didn't do. And this is one thing. If we don't get back to doing what America first, getting everything done for the Americans, for the people, and so forth, we were going to go a different way. Okay. The only thing that's going to happen right now is just mainly everything that North Korea. I got a funny feeling that we are going to denuclearize these guys. I got a funny feeling that basically because the thing is they're scared of Trump, which is good. It's good.
Carlos, I got to tell you, my friend, look, and I agree with you, and thank you for that call, Carlos. Look, if he pulls this off, again, I don't want to raise expectations, but you said you got a gut feeling. I got a good feeling, too. I got a good feeling in my gut. I don't know why, but I do. If he denuclearizes the entire Korean peninsula, i.e., the mad midget, okay, North Korea, if he pulls that off, with the economy booming the way it is, he's winning re-election in 2020. Look, the wall's important. Other things are important. Please. How do you stop the guy? I mean, even the liberal media is going to have to concede, oh, my God. Nobody thought this could be possible. I mean, the Iranians are horrible. Don't get me wrong. But there is no more rogue regime in the world. It's called a hermit kingdom for a reason. Okay? It's a hermit state than North Korea. And they have been, for 30 years now, threatening to blow up Seoul, blow up Tokyo, now hit Guam, now hit Hawaii. The whole world is... Look, we all have disagreements, okay? The whole world does. The one thing the whole freaking world agrees on, this guy's a danger, this guy's a menace, and North Korea's nuclear weapons pose a threat to world peace. Everybody. You want to unite Jews, Muslims, Shia, Sunni, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, atheists, agnostics. I don't care. Name them. Men, women, gays, straight. Everybody says this guy with a nuclear bomb is a threat to everybody. he brings home a deal that takes away his nuclear weapons, I am telling you, President Trump, re-election in 2020 with a strong, booming economy, you can run anybody. You can resurrect John F. Kennedy, and Trump will beat him. So what he's showing us is, look what a businessman and an outsider can do. Look what somebody who's not a conventional politician can do. He's already done more, frankly, than the four previous presidents, the two Bushes, Obama and Clinton combined. With the media against him, the deep state against him, and Robert Mueller breathing down his neck. Imagine if they would actually let him do his job. I mean, Craig you know what? I don't want to rush Craig. Greg, I'm going to take your call next, Craig. Craig in Saugus, 617-266-6868. Okay. I'll continue to take your calls, I promise. However, on that plane with President Trump was Vice President Mike Pence. And the media asked him about Robert Mueller. And Pence, to their shock and horror, said, no, I'm with the president on this one. Mueller has been investigating Russia for over a year. Either you've got something or you don't. Either you let us know what you have and you think the president should be impeached, or wrap it up. Will Mueller wrap it up? What's going to happen next? All of these stories we're going to deal with. But first, Evan Heidenrich is in the WRKO newsroom. The Pentagon is releasing a final report on the deadly attack that killed 4 Americans in Africa last year. Evan has all those details. What are they, Evan? Let's go to Craig in Saugus. You're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Jeff, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome, Craig.
I need you to do me a favor. I need some of the stuff you're smoking.
Okay.
Because you're out of your frickin' mind if you think these moon bats are going to give the Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump. They'll give it to Kim Jong-un before they even think about giving it to Donald Trump. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I'm just using the Nobel Peace Prize as a kind of, I don't know if it literally, but I mean, everybody's going to say he should have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize. Jeff, in other words, he makes this deal. I mean, Craig, let's be honest. He makes this deal. This is going to stun the establishment to its very core.
Yeah, we all know that, Jeff. But you don't. I'm telling you right now, there's no way. They hate him so much. The moon bats, they'll give it to Kim Jong-un before they give it to Donald Trump.
I mean, Craig, you think they would really give it to a mass murderer who starves millions of his own people?
Yes.
Craig, let me ask you this. Buddy, I got to ask you this, my friend. In all honesty, when you see those 3 Americans coming home as they did in the middle of the night, the summit now is set. The pressure is on tremendous now on Kim, on Little Rocket Man. Do you think Trump can pull it off?
Jeff, I pray. I pray, and I keep my fingers crossed. I think he can. I really do think he can. Now, the most about it, do you think Obama would have showed up? If he, there's no way he would have got him out. But if he did, do you think him and Michelle Maybell would have showed up at the airport?
Nothing would disturb their beauty sleep.
Exactly.
Craig, thank you very much for that call. In fact, look, I'm just telling you, this is a widely reported story, okay? Forget showing up for 3 Americans who have been held captive, tortured, one of them in hard labor in a slave labor camp. When the order was given to get Osama bin Laden, to take him out, they were in the Situation Room. And I mean, Biden was there. All of the top national security people were there. This is the man, the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks with the blood of 3,000 Americans on his hands. You know where Obama was, I swear to you, as that raid took place? Forget meeting somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning at Andrews Air Force Base. He was downstairs in the White House cafeteria, I swear, in the White House kitchen, playing poker and eating sandwiches and chips with one of his buddies. That's how much he could be bothered with us taking out Osama bin Laden. When the raid was taking place, he couldn't even be bothered. He couldn't even be bothered. He was stuffing his face. So for this guy to have shown up at Andrews Air Force Base to personally welcome 3 Americans who were detained and tortured by Kim Jong-un's people? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Okay. It is now getting very serious between Mueller and the Trump team. And you know it is when Mike Pence, as you know, doesn't usually say very much, is pretty much in the shadows, howdy-doody kind of a guy, never speaks ill of anybody. As he puts it, his motto is born to be mild. Not born to be wild, born to be mild. He was directly asked, he was there at the event, on the plane, talking to reporters, and they said, what do you think of Robert Mueller? According now to Mike Pence, here is exactly what he said, quote, in the interests of the country, I think it's time to wrap it up, as he told NBC News. He went on to say that the Mueller investigation has gone on now for way too long. He goes, we have fully cooperated with Mueller's probe, including turning over more than 1 million documents. So and he said, quote, I would very respectfully encourage the special counsel and his team to bring their work to completion. In plain English, put up or shut up. Now, you want to see how bad the Mueller investigation is getting? How they have gone so beyond the scope and mandate of their investigation. Listen now to this. This one. This is just, this is mind-boggling. So, forget Russia. Forget Russia collusion. Forget working with the Kremlin. Forget who hacked into the DNC emails. Who was Trump or his people working with in Russia. Now they are setting their sights on Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen. And it's, in fact, what Mueller is now doing is, in fact, he is openly working and colluding with the shyster, sleazy lawyer of Stormy Daniels. So Michael Avenatti went out and hit the talk shows and made a bombshell accusation that a Russian oligarch apparently had funneled through the company Novartis $500,000, $500,000 into a firm owned by Michael Cohen in order to reimburse his $130,000 payoff to Stormy Daniels. It turns out it was complete bull crap. Pardon my language. It was complete BS. Novartis came out. NBC, the mainstream media went wild with this. You want collusion? There's collusion. $500,000. It went to Michael Cohen from a Russian billionaire, an oligarch. There it is. Collusion, the smoking gun. He doesn't own Novartis. He doesn't have a stake in Novartis. Novartis came out and said he never sent us any money. We never sent his money, any money from us to Michael Cohen. He's not the owner of Novartis. He's got nothing to do with Novartis. The whole thing was completely fabricated and made up. But it now turns out that Michael Cohen does what almost everybody in Washington does. He set up some kind of a company and invited payments from AT&T, Novartis, other companies saying, hey, I have the president's ear. Hey, I can give him advice. So if you want to influence the president, give me money. And so apparently millions of dollars were put into one of these companies by Michael Cohen, owned by Michael Cohen, where Cohen alleged that he could then use that money and try to influence President Trump on behalf of his clients. The problem, however, is that Cohen has never been part of the Trump administration. He's never been part of the Trump cabinet. And AT&T and Novartis are now complaining, saying, we never got anything for our money. There was no influence. We gave him checks and nothing came of it. It doesn't matter. Now Mueller is investigating AT&T. He's investigating Novartis. He's investigating Michael Cohen. In other words, they're trying to now collaborate and collude with Stormy Daniels, the washed-up porn star, to go after Michael Cohen, hoping that by going through Cohen, they can get to Trump. This is a despicable witch hunt. Join Relay for Life and help the American Cancer Society fund cancer research, free rides to chemo, and free places to stay near hospitals. Register or donate today at relayforlife.org. Okay, my friends, now Mueller is obsessing over a firm set up by Mickey Cohen, Trump's personal lawyer, in which AT&T, Novartis, others gave contributions or whatever money, thinking that somehow he would have influence with the Trump administration. He's now investigating AT&T. He's now investigating Novartis. He's now investigating Michael Cohen. All of this based on research provided to him by Stormy Daniels, his sleazy shyster lawyer, Michael Avenatti. So now Mueller is working alongside a washed-up porn star in his desperate drive to bring down Trump. So I've got to ask the question, who's funding Michael Avenatti? Who's putting money in his pocket? They're going after Cohen's source of funding. Well, what about Avenatti's source of funding? That's what I'd like to know. Pence says it's time for Mueller to wrap it up. I agree. What do you say? 617-266-6868. Is the Mueller investigation now just getting so out of control? It's becoming a pathetic witch hunt. Andy in Nebraska, thanks for holding. Go ahead, Andy.
Again, Jeff.
Andy.
I got 3 points I'd like to make. First, if I could, on Iran. I don't think either America or Israel should bomb because just hit them on the economy. Tell those who trade with Iran you either get Iran or the U.S. market. The economic sanctions have been working very, very well. Maduro's on the verge of collapse. Cuba's being starved for money, and the hard line isn't working. It's been a disaster. Nicaragua, the economic sanctions haven't even hit yet, and there's over 1 million who've been out in the streets of Managua wanting the pedophile dictator gone. On the issue of Robert Mueller, as we'd say in Russian, у меня сообщение для Robert Mueller. Докажи и заткнись. Prove it or shut up.
Andy, I'm with you. I'm with you. Thank you for that call, Andy. Look, I got to tell you, I think Trump now is starting to win this PR battle. You can see it. The investigation's running out of steam. They look now pathetically desperate. They're trying to crucify Michael Cohen. They're going after this lawyer. Look how far afield they are. We're talking about AT&T and Novartis giving money to Michael Cohen in some firm that he set up, thinking, well, were you trying to influence the president? What does this have to do with Russia collusion? What does this have to do with interfering in the election? What does this have to do with Russiagate? Absolutely nothing. And now that it's coming out, he's getting his talking points and his research from Stormy Daniels and her shyster lawyer. So now, Bobby, now you're colluding with that washed up 2-bit porn star. That's how your office rolls. Who's paying Michael Avenatti? That's what I want to know. Why aren't you looking into that, Bobby? Hugh in New Hampshire, you're up next. Go ahead, Hugh.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
I just wanted to switch gears a little bit. Yesterday, I listened to the whole testimony for Gina Haspel.
Yes.
And
Trump's CIA nominee, yes.
Yes, exactly. And one of the things that struck me the most was the line of questioning from Kamala Harris. And after a bit, I thought about it. And I know that her line of questioning said, do you believe enhanced interrogation is...
Hugh, you got to turn off that phone, my friend. When you're calling the Cooner Report, you're in the big leagues. You got to turn that phone off, buddy. Russ in Boston. Go ahead, Russ.
Jeff.
Hey, Russ.
Hey, Jeff. Jeff, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, those of us that put faith in Donald Trump, this is no surprise to us whatsoever, okay? The master negotiator. If not him, who? Do you think any of those self-serving whores up in Washington that could ever do this? Of course not, okay? Now, you look at today's Wall Street Journal, okay? Front page. China plans offer to buy more from the U.S. Do you think that would happen with anyone else as president of the United States? Of course. The balance of trade would be so much more in their favor than ours. But now that's going to get turned around a bit. Only under Donald Trump. And as far as I'm concerned, he's the best and strongest president we've had since Roosevelt did what he had to do to win World War II.
Russ, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of Roosevelt. I would definitely say Reagan. Look, we have been waiting for the successor to Reagan. I've been waiting for it my whole life. I think we've now found it. I think there's no question about it. And look, I mean, we're winning. We are now serious. Look what he's done just in the last couple of days. So you've got the latest employment numbers coming in. I want you to think about this. Black unemployment at historic low levels, not seen since 1972. Latino unemployment, historic low levels. Women, female unemployment, the lowest it's been in over 20 years. The Iran nuclear deal, it's gone. It's gone. Obama's policy of appeasement has been repealed like that, with the stroke of a pen. And now you've got these 3 Korean Americans coming home, these 3 Americans coming home. And now we find out there's a huge summit ready to go in Singapore on June 12th. And you know, Russ, you touched on something. These whores, as you called them up in Washington, they wouldn't care about 3 Americans rotting in some North Korean prison. That's the difference. They don't care. He does. And to me, that's why he won in November 2016. It's time to put America first and drain that swamp, baby. And say what you want about Trump, he's draining. There's a lot to drain, but man, he's starting to drain. He's working that pump really hard. Bob in New Hampshire, you're up next. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you, Bob?
Taking my call. I've been listening to you here off and on during the day. I just want to make a comment that I think the left is looking at the wrong word in their discussions and in the media. They keep focusing on legacy of previous presidents, and what they really should be focused on is policy. What is the actual mechanisms to move and make decisions, and what decisions were made in order to, I'll say, further establish the United States throughout the world and its power. Who cares about what happens or how historians can view other presidents? Okay. That's just a historical view, an opinion, a comparison. But what has really mattered is the policies of what things go on today. I think, Trump pulling out of the Iran deal had to do it because we don't want, North Korea coming up and asking for some type of airplane load of cash coming over just to appease them. And to be honest with you, I think in order to really make North Korea happen, it would be more in a form of a treaty to where it completely shuts down. Technically, the North Korean war is not ended. It's just a ceasefire. And we really need some type of long-lasting treaty to completely end this back and forth and stuff. But again, without appeasement of the United States handing over technologies and cash by the boatloads just to make it look like it's
Bob, I completely agree with you, and very well said. Really good call. Thank you for that call. Look, the fundamental flaw of the Iran nuclear deal and I point this out in my column. You can check it out at wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhner. Just go to menu, click on Kuhner's Corner. There it is, John Kerry Trader. It's a treasonous deal. We gave the mullahs $100 billion, $2 billion in cash. By the way, multiple currencies. People forget that. US dollars, Swiss francs, euros. Why? So they could use it to support their terrorist groups across the Middle East so they can buy all kinds of weapons on the international black market. Okay? But the bigger treason, at the heart of the deal, there is a sunset provision that says by 2025, like this, Iran, the mullahs, could restart their nuclear weapons program. So what the deal did, it did not prevent Iran from getting the bomb. It paved the way for Iran to get the bomb. And as I pointed out in the last hour, these are revolutionary Islamic Shiites who believe that a nuclear war must take place for the 12th Imam to finally come and the apocalypse to take place to usher in the final days of a triumphant world Muslim empire. That's why Bibi has been saying over and over again, as far as Israel is concerned, an Iran nuclear bomb cannot and will not ever happen because it would mean the annihilation of Israel itself. That's why that deal had to be torn up. That's why it was a disastrous deal. And that we got nothing and the mullahs got everything tells you everything you need to know about Kerry and Obama. Coming up next, only in Massachusetts, should people who are homeless be put up welfare motels? Should you pay for them to be put up in motels? And you want to hear about welfare fraud and abuse? Oh, don't touch that dial.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 100.7 WZLX HD2 Boston, an iHeart radio station.